Today we're covering one of my favourite topics, the biggest myths about getting a mortgage with bad credit. Now, as someone who's been working in the industry for over a decade, I've heard a lot in my time, but rather than list them all, I've put together the 3 biggies that I hear the most. So, with that being said, let's dive in. Hi there and welcome to the Bad Credit Mortgage channel. If you're struggling with bad credit and you're feeling overwhelmed by the process, you're in the right place. If you have any questions or any ideas for future videos, please pop those in the comments below. And please make sure you also hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications for future videos. So let's get started. Here are my 3 biggest myths for getting a mortgage with bad credit. Myth number 1. All lenders look at your credit score. Now, this one is widely believed, but here's the truth. It's just not accurate. While your credit score can play an important role in the mortgage process and the approval process, it's not the be-all and end-all. In fact, there are plenty of lenders who specialise in working with people with a less than perfect credit score, and there are even lenders who will completely ignore your credit score, whether it's good or whether it's bad. You will find that lenders fall into 2 main categories. Lenders that do credit score and lenders that credit check, which means they don't credit score. And the lenders that credit check, so they don't credit score, what this basically means is that you will either fit their lending policy or you won't fit their lending policy. It's as black and white as that. For example, one particular lender might say, as long as you've had no county court judgments in the last 2 years, you do fit their policy, irrelevant of what your credit score is. Ultimately, the key takeaway here is that mortgage lenders will look at a variety of factors, not just your credit score, and they'll look at things such as your employment status, the level of debt that you have, and your overall financial status. So, while your score can be important, it's only one piece of the puzzle. So don't think that you're automatically out of the running if it isn't perfect. So, myth 1, busted. Myth number 2, interest rates are going to be incredibly high with bad credit. I get it, you've heard horror stories of people with bad credit having sky-high interest rates. And where it can be true that bad credit can mean slightly higher rates for some people, in reality, it's nowhere near as extreme as some people think. For example, if you have good credit, you might be looking at interest rates of between 4.5% to 5%, whereas if you have bad credit, you might be looking at interest rates between 6.5% to 7%. Yes, there's a slight increase there, but it's not always as big a jump as people fear. Now, it is true, there are lenders out there who might offer rates much higher than this, sometimes at 11 to 12%, but this is usually as a last resort when the bad credit has been particularly recent and severe. It is also worth remembering that when you take out a mortgage, it's unlikely you're going to be on the same interest rate for the entire term of the mortgage. And what that means is as your credit improves, you can look to leave that lender and pick a different interest rate. This means that you can treat a bad credit mortgage as a stopgap to get your foot on the property ladder before trying to move to a high street lender. And finally, myth number 3 is that you can't get a mortgage if you've had a bankruptcy, a debt management plan, or an IVA. This one, absolutely false. Having a bankruptcy, an IVA, or a debt management plan doesn't mean that you're forever banned from having a mortgage. In fact, there are lenders out there who specialise in helping people in this exact situation. Sure, it's likely that you'll need a higher deposit and you might have to wait a little bit longer until these incidents are further in the past, but if you can demonstrate that you've been paying your bills on time, working on your financial history and sticking to a budget, there are lenders out there who will be prepared to give you a chance. We do have a video that breaks down the various levels of deposit you will need for certain types of bad credit. This includes IVAs, debt management plans, and bankruptcies, and you can check that out by clicking the link in the top corner of your screen. So, if this applies to you, don't count yourself out just yet, and with just a little bit of legwork and hard work, a little bit of planning, the dreams of home ownership could still come true. So there you have it. We've busted the biggest myths about getting a mortgage with bad credit. So to recap, just remember, credit score, it doesn't always matter to the mortgage lenders. Interest rates, they're not always as high as you think, and you can get a mortgage with a debt management plan an IVA or a bankruptcy. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or any ideas on future videos, please make sure that you pop those in the comments below. And please make sure that you hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications for all things bad credit and bad credit mortgage related. And we will see you in the next video.